I'm Richard Ingram, and there's Tony Privatera, the podcast master, right over there. Lafayette was the nation's guest. He was on the farewell tour of America 200 years ago. I hope Eric Severide would appreciate. Our heroes expose us. They flag the virtues we esteem. Lafayette was a hero, is a hero, because he stood for two things many Americans today find wanting in our civic life. One is the idea that you can control your destiny. And the other, the idea that the bonds of community have a view to the common. Pageantry celebrated in the person of Lafayette during this farewell tour what Americans believed America was all about. Lafayette embodied a public philosophy. It was ancient in origin, but it's marbled with this fresh American sentiment. Productive work, sense of ownership it imparts, is the instrument for liberty, equality, and justice. See Michael Sandel's Democracy's Discontent for a Clear-Eyed Case. Lafayette got back aboard the James Kent, crossed the Hudson River to New Jersey, the Garden State. There Lafayette met Governor Isaac Williamson at Paulus Hook, and the entourage. They waved and greeted their way, body surfers, to Bergen, to Newark, Elizabeth, Rahway, New Brunswick, Princeton, and Trenton. Follow that map. At Bergen, he and Washington had had lunch in August of 1780. They'd had it under an apple tree near the Van Wagenen House, which still stands at 298 Academy Street. It's been restored. Lafayette was presented a cane, which had been crafted from a branch of that apple tree. The tree itself had been uprooted in a storm back on September 3rd, 1821. The gold knob of this cane had an inscription. Shaded the hero and friend of Washington in 1779, presented by the Corporation of Bergen in 1824. It was 1780, not 1779. Misinformation has a long pedigree. The cane now resides, interestingly, in the Louvre. Lafayette arrived at Princeton on September the 25th and proceeded on to Trenton that evening. You remember battles at these two hamlets provided two of the bright spots for Washington in the Revolutionary War. Washington crossed the Delaware Christmas night, 1776, and you remember Emanuel Lutze painted that iconic Washington crossing the Delaware in 1851, a painting which now owns its own wall at the Metropolitan Museum of New York. It's a stunning painting. And Washington on January 3rd, 1777, repeated that performance at Trenton this time. Princeton is one of the 9 original colonial colleges, but known as the College of New Jersey until 1896 when it became Princeton. The president at the time, President Carnahan, presented Lafayette an honorary Doctor of Laws, which had really been awarded back in 1790 and signed by John Witherspoon, who was president of the college at the time and also a signer of the Declaration of Independence. But Lafayette in 1790 was back in France. Many such honors, Doctor of Laws. The next morning was a Sunday, and Lafayette attended service at the Presbyterian Church. And that afternoon, he visited Joseph Bonaparte. Joseph Bonaparte was Napoleon's older brother. During Napoleon's reign, Joseph Bonaparte and Lafayette had gotten to know one another. They'd become friends, although they differed in their perspectives on government. And when Bonaparte, that is, Napoleon, when he was effectively excommunicated from office in France, Joseph Bonaparte immigrated to America. He bought land at Point Breeze, Bordentown, and settled down there, and Lafayette went out to visit him. And when word got around that Lafayette was at Point Breeze, crowds started to come, and Joseph Bonaparte threw open his home to these crowds who had come to get a glimpse of Lafayette. Philadelphia would not be outdone in its celebration. Auguste Levasseur, Lafayette's secretary, estimated a crowd of 120,000 and 40,000 that had come from out of town. Bleachers were set up, and when Lafayette arrived, there were militia set up to escort him, 6,000 of them. There were 13 triumphal arches until he got in front of Independence Hall. Interestingly, Independence Hall had fallen into some disrepair. It was the State House of Pennsylvania, but with Lafayette's coming, it gave impetus to spruce it up, and now it was Independence Hall. And in front of it was a grand triumphal arch that was designed by William Strickland. Strickland was also the one who designed in Savannah the memorials to Nathaniel Greene and to Pulaski. Thousands of people showed up in Philadelphia to see Lafayette. America, love. Till next time.